Hello fellow orchid lovers, it's Danielle here with a hopefully brief video about how I fertilize my orchids. This is my third attempt to film this video, and that's because my puppies are all being naughty. So they're on lockdown. Because as I'm trying to film the video, they're behind me knocking me over. It was actually kind of comical. I should have just posted it for your sheer enjoyment. So I don't want anyone to take what I'm going to say in this video and think that they have to do what I do. I've done a lot of research on, the type of nutrients that plants need and all those types of things, and I encourage you to do the same. I'm showing you this so maybe this could be like a jumping off point for you. I've tried to take my environment and how I grow, which is hydroponically or water culture, and apply nutrients based on that. So if you're growing in a different environment than me, like a different state, or if you're growing in bark or in moss, my method is not necessarily going to be the best method for you, but you can kind of figure out how to tweak it for your situation if you'd like. So plants absorb nutrients, all different types of nutrients. There's more than just one nutrient that they need. There are a lot of different fertilizers out there. Excuse me. So you're going to want to try to find one that works for you, works for your environment. A lot of people really like MSU fertilizers, which is basically just Michigan Scientific University came up with a formula that they found is beneficial for orchid growth. And so a lot of people really like that. I do have an MSU fertilizer. While I don't dislike it, I didn't feel like my plants responded 100% to it. They were still growing and everything was great, but I just felt like I could do more. So I've come up with a few things that I think has really worked for my environment. Now, when you're going to pick out a fertilizer, you want to take your environment into consideration. There are 3 different types of nitrogen that are available in fertilizers. So you can see right here in this bottle, you see there's ammoniacal nitrogen and then there's nitrate nitrogen. The third type of nitrogen is a urea-based nitrogen. So the ammoniacal and the urea are good nitrogen sources if you live in a warm environment where you're going to get warmer temperatures. And the reason for that is they're broken down by bacteria that thrive in warmer temperatures. I don't have those warmer temperatures, so the bacteria doesn't have an opportunity to grow and break down the ammoniacal and the urea-based nitrogens, and therefore my roots have a tendency to burn if I use those types of nitrogen. So I try to find something that's very low in an ammoniacal nitrogen and higher in a nitrate nitrogen. This is just a bloom booster that I add to my primary fertilizer, which is a calcium nitrate nitrogen mix. So this is my primary fertilizer, and because it doesn't have all of these other nutrients that are very important to orchids, I add this bloom booster. It's not because I want to boost my blooms, although I do want blooms. It's because I want to add all of these nutrients that this particular fertilizer does not have. I also have a CalMag booster that I add to my solution as well, and I'll show you exactly how I do that. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out at what pH level you want to fertilize your orchids. And pH levels are important because, as you can see, nutrients are available at various pHs, but not at all. So if you are going way high on your pH and you're more in the alkaline range, your plant's going to be missing calcium. It's going to be missing a lot of important nutrients that it needs to grow. If you go lower on the scale, then you're going to be missing other important nutrients. So you want to find, if you can, a sweet spot kind of in the middle that your plants are going to be able... Oh, these dogs are driving me nuts. Jet, go outside. Outside right now. Then chill out. This is my 3rd attempt. I don't want a 4th. Sorry, guys. You weren't even looking at anything good while I was yelling at her. Aurora, that means you too. Stop. Okay, So you're going to want to find a pH that is going to work for your fertilizing. So personally for me, I don't do the 5.8, which is, as you can see, like a really sweet spot. You get most of your nutrients. I go a little higher. And the reason for that is I do grow hydroponically, and my roots are exposed to water most of the week. And the longer the water sits with the roots, the more acidic it becomes. So the pH does drop. So if I start off on a 6.1 or a 6.2, by the time the week goes by and it's time to refresh the water, the pH has dropped. Now, how do I know what my pH is? I have what's called, let me turn that off, a pH meter, okay? I don't want my reflection in there. I have a pH meter. So this will tell you what the pH of your water is. Now, this particular tool I find is a little frustrating because it's not always 100% accurate, and I do have to recalibrate it quite a bit. However, now that I have the mixture or the formula that I use that I like, I don't use this that much, so it's a little less frustrating for me. But to get the original formula, the one that I'm going to be showing you, I did use this to find a pH level that I like. And like I said, I like to fertilize around 6.2, 6.1. I also have what's called a TDS meter, and this basically just tells you how many dissolved solids are in your water, so you can see how strong your fertilizer is. You obviously need to figure out what you feel is the proper strength and what you feel is too strong. Some people are, you know, they fertilize at really high levels, and then others don't want to do that. So you have to figure out what you feel is good for your orchids. If you're gonna have dogs, just have 1 or 2. Don't have like 5 like I have, because, or you know what? Don't get 2 puppies at the same time. It's really the problem here. Okay, so like I said, I do have a cal nitrate mix. I have a bloom. I can't speak this morning. A bloom booster. I only had 1 cup of coffee, so that's probably why. That does have all the other ingredients that it needs, and then I also have a CalMag supplement. So what I do is I take distilled water, because distilled water is at pretty much a neutral pH, and also doesn't have any additives in it. So in theory, if you test it with your TDS meter or your total dissolved solids meter, the reading should be extremely low, probably no more than 10. So you're pretty much starting with a blank canvas. Guys, cut it out. You're pretty much starting with a blank canvas, and you're able to add your nutrients to that. So because a lot of fertilizers are designed to go in tap water, I find that if I just take the distilled water and I put my nutrients in, the pH drops really severely to somewhere in the 4 range. And that's just way too acidic, especially for growing in hydroponics like I do. And so what I do is I put in, and I'm gonna try to do this while I'm filming, so this should be interesting. I put in my cal nitrate, which I only put in 1/4 of a teaspoon because I'm going to be putting in other stuff. And then I take the Tiger, I use Tiger Bloom, but it's not necessary. I'm not saying that you should use that product. I just bought it because I needed a bloom booster and it was available. And I take and I put in a full squeeze full, which it doesn't ever come out full, so I have to put in 2 of that. And then I put in the same amount of the Cal Mag. Come on. Okay. And that's what I do as far as nutrients are concerned. Now you're going to notice that the level of this gallon is low. And the reason for that is before I put my nutrients in, I take 2 cups of the distilled water out. I don't throw it out. I put it in here into a distilled water container. And then after I'm done putting my nutrients in and mixing it really good, I put in 1.5 cups of tap water, because my tap water's pH is relatively high. Guys, Aurora and Jet, you're going to be in boot camp if you don't cut it out. Do you understand me? They don't understand me, because they don't know what boot camp is. So I take the tap water and I add it to my fertilized mix. And that raises the pH from that 4 range back up into the 5, low 6 range that I desire. So that's what I've found that I can do to raise my pH back up. They do have products like pH down and pH up that you can purchase to do that, but the tap water does it for me, and so I just use it. My tap water is, you know, I don't know necessarily exactly what's in it, but I'm not concerned about it hurting my orchids, especially at 1.5 cups at a time, you know, dispersed throughout my orchids. So that's basically what I do. I've been very distracted by my silly puppies. Let's see, this is what they're doing. Making noise, being brats. Yeah, because she wants the bed and she has the, hey! I don't like that. And so I've been very distracted. So therefore, I'm sorry if that video didn't make any sense. I'm gonna watch it first before I post it so I can make sure I included everything that I wanted to, considering that my dogs are driving me nuts today. So if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you're all having a great week and you had a great weekend, and I will talk to you all next time.